Now we know who our possible police commissioners are. The nominations are in, and we've got 5 folk to choose from. We're going to get them all in this week to see what they would do if they're elected. I'm going to start off with the UKIP candidate, Jonathan Arnott, who joins us now. Morning, Jonathan.
Morning, Toby.
So you want to be the police commissioner. Tell us why.
Well, I suppose, really, for me, my family have always been involved in law enforcement. My granddad was a police officer for many years when I was growing up. I used to hear lots of stories from him about keeping the community safe. My dad was a chair of magistrates in Sheffield. I think it's really a way of making sure that the police are doing the job properly, holding the police to account, in my view as well. I think we need to be very much tougher. The police priorities need to be on violent crimes, burglaries, an awful lot more than they are at the moment. Let's push those things, make sure that the Chief Constable's held to account. I think it's a very tough time with budgets as well. Need to have somebody who understands numbers, finances and so on, to make sure that every last possible penny is squeezed out of the budgets, brought straight back to the front lines and back to fight crime.
I suppose every one of the candidates for the 85 grand a year job will tell me that it's a good job to have, but the public don't seem that bothered about it, do you?
Well, I understand that, and in some ways I think democracy should work the other way around, really. It should be up to the people to say we want something different rather than it being imposed from central government. So I can see why there is a lack of public enthusiasm. That being said, the role exists, and given that the role exists in this...
It's not just public enthusiasm, of course. Sir Ian Blair, former head of the Met, said that he hopes nobody votes because he thinks it's such a bad post.
Well, I can see that there are problems with it, but that being said, to simply go out and not vote would lead to the worst of both worlds, because you would then end up in a situation where you've got somebody who will be in place anyway, and no democratic mandate really for them to do so, and that would lead to a much worse situation. So I'd certainly encourage everyone to go out and vote, and personally I'd hope they vote for me, of course.
Now, you're the UKIP candidate. Is this going to be a UKIP-led post? Is it a political post?
Well, the way it's been set up, I think political parties have ended up standing for it. I wouldn't have stood if I didn't have an absolute assurance from my party that if elected, that I will be completely independent, there will be no kind of party whip or expectation, and the job is about serving the public. At the end of the day, that is what I will do if elected.
What do you do currently, Jonathan?
I work as a teacher, and I'm also the General Secretary of UKIP.
OK, and do you think that your work as a teacher prepares you for a job like this?
Well, I would say that the combination, yes, it does. I mean, I've done charity work and a lot of work with disadvantaged young people. Ran a charity for set it up from nothing. Started working with the kind of people who are at risk of turning to crime. Obviously, teaching is a job that involves a lot of working with young people. Really, again, it's trying to make a difference, prevent people from getting into that situation in the first place. In terms of the work that I've done in politics, the one thing that I think sets me apart in that sense as General Secretary of UKIP is that I've had the experience of debating with the top people in government, and a lot of what the Police Commissioner's role will be is not just going to be holding the Chief Constable to account, but it's also going to be being prepared to stand up to central government and to actually go out there and make sure that South Yorkshire's corner is fought. If
nothing else, it'll be a 50 or 60 grand pay rise. Do you think it's overpaid, this job, at 85,000 quid?
Well, I think it's less than the average GP's salary, so, putting it into a certain context is there. My view is that any job like that should be about service, and that's really where I think if somebody says, well, I'm not going to take the salary, then that creates a difficult situation, because you have somebody earning less than people who are working for them effectively. That could be a bit of a problem. My view and my way of squaring the circle, I suppose, is to say that I don't think that I personally need 85 grand a year to do a particular job, so my view is that you should take a lead, and my way of taking that lead is to say that I would donate a certain amount of that salary to charity, and specifically a lot of that to groups working in victim support.
Jonathan, thank you very much.